Hello everyone and welcome to the Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. There's such confusion and dissension today among Catholics. From different forms of the Mass to which candidate to vote for, there's a host of issues. Where did all this dissension and confusion come from? It'd be naive and too simplistic to try to pinpoint one earthly source for all the rancor. But since the Catholic Church also and predominantly has residence in eternity, we know that the ultimate source of all division is Satan. And for Catholics who wish to dispute this dogmatic teaching of the Church, you're wrong. Don't even waste your time. Satan is real. He's an individual personality, as our blessed Lord assures us throughout the Gospels. But while he is the source of all division, he uses many tools. One such tool that is probably among his favorite is errant priests and clergy who distort church teaching to suit their own ends. They've been around since the beginning, unfortunately. Maybe they were always as numerous as they appear to be today and were just kind of shy. I doubt it. Evil is only shy when shyness can be utilized as a weapon for helping people to commit evil. No, attempted murderers of the faith are not shy. They're slick and shrewd and sneaky and slimy because they dress up their ideas in falsehoods and decorate them with lies. Appealing lies, but lies nonetheless. Case in point, one of the leading enemies of Catholic truth is Notre Dame's theology professor, Father Richard McBrien. For decades, McBrien has experienced agitation and angst over anything that his Roman collar demands he teach. In fact, so blinded by the light of authentic Catholic truth has McBrien become that he openly professes against virtually everything that the Catholic Church teaches. Now, on a personal note, I graduated from Notre Dame in the early 1980s. See, I have my ring right here. Already, McBrien's poison had seeped far and wide among my fellow students. In fact, so renowned has he become for stabbing the church in the back that secular atheist media types have sought him out for years to enlighten us as to why the church teaching is wrong. So what does he say from his lofty perch high atop the ivory theology tower at Notre Dame? He says the church is wrong about premarital sex, divorce, remarriage, abortion, homosexuality, the papacy, on and on and on. His latest installment of I Know More Than the Church came from inside a Unitarian church in Kansas City where he called the papacy, his words, tyrannical. The Pope is tyrannical. He unleashed a tide of venom against Pope John Paul II's memory, blasting him for appointing bad bishops. You know, on a side note, depending on what McBrien means by bad, he and I might actually agree on this point about the bad bishops. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. He blames John Paul II's bishop appointments for what he calls a dearth of pastoral leadership. And that's rich, pastoral leadership, coming from this man hiding behind his certificate of tenure as he pollutes the minds of literally thousands of students. He's become the media go-to guy for sound bites of dissent. But in another eerie similarity between Father Richard McBrien and me, we each believe that there is something of a lack of pastoral leadership. I believe pastoral leadership needs to have long ago put this man out to the pasture. The failure to do so has shown an enormous lack of pastoral leadership, of the will to protect the people of God from his poison. To stand up in the pulpit of a congregation that denies the Trinity, what's a Catholic priest doing in a place like that to begin with? And spew out heretical trash about the papacy is beyond the pale. Now, we called his office at Notre Dame and asked if he'd care to elaborate on some of his comments. He declined to talk to Real Catholic TV. This may be the first time in the history of Western civilization that Father Richard McBrien has turned down an interview, and who says we don't make history here? Two questions about his Roman collar. One, why does he still voluntarily wear it? And two, why is he still allowed to put it on? The first answer is open rebellion, and the second answer is a lack of willingness to put down open rebellion. A willingness to not confront when confrontation is called for bespeaks something rotten in Denmark. Could it be? Is it possible that Father McBrien and many like him have the tacit approval of some above them? A kind of wink and nod cooperation, who knows? Father McBrien is academically accomplished. He's written more books and articles than most publishing companies have published. He's a smart man. He may be one of the smartest men in the church. So what? Nowhere in Scripture or the teaching of the church, the same teaching that Father McBrien routinely ridicules, nowhere does it say that you have to be smart to get into heaven. It does say you must be humble and charitable and trust like a child. Going down the list, you won't find intelligent, degreed, published. That's because those gifts of the intellect are given for the service of the truth, to help enlighten the minds of others to the beauty of the truth. But Father McBrien has misused these gifts for the service of the enemy. Whether he's done this willingly or unwillingly, that's not for us to say. That's up to God. But it is most certainly for us and any and every faithful Catholic to call out a theological Judas. The beauty of the faith, its supreme glory, is God's mercy. And despite all his decades of slamming the church, even though he's made a very nice living doing it, despite all this, a simple, truthful admission of his false statements about Christ's mystical bride would wipe away everything. I hope after all his books and articles and interviews with secular atheists and much ballyhooed celebrity, he's smart enough to know that. And that goes for all of us as well. I'm Michael Vortex.